This is Gippsland FM, your community connection here on a absolutely smashing, beautiful sunny day. It's 29 degrees out there, so the weather forecast says it's so sunny. We're heading to summer. It's beautiful. This is where you connect with everyone in the community, our place for you to be having lots of fun. And we're going to have a wonderful day tomorrow, except there will be a shower or two coming in. A minimum of 11, top of 20. This is Business, Wealth and Mental Health, the show that explores how thriving businesses, wise financial management and peaceful relationships are good for your mental health. And today I have Sharon Anderson from MoArts. Sharon, pleasure to have you on the show.
Oh, great to be here.
That's fantastic. I'm going to just move the microphone a little bit closer. There we go.
How's that?
That's fabulous. How are you? You're having a great time today, enjoying this wonderful sunny weather that we've got?
Oh, I am. Yes, definitely.
And you're a long time Gippsland person from Latrobe Valley, originally from Morwell, is that right?
Yeah, grew up in Morwell and got married and moved over to wonderful Moe.
To Moe, fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's jump in that Wayback Machine. We were joking about that beforehand. And I bring that up because that silver DeLorean from Back to the Future, I had a young guy on the show and I mentioned that and he's giving me really funny looks going, I don't know what you're talking about. But let's jump in that. Let's hit 88 miles an hour. Tell us a bit about your background. What is it that got you into arts and leading into MoArts and the creation of that?
Look, I always wanted to be an artist, ever since I was a kid. And I studied art at Morwell Tech, which doesn't exist anymore. And then went out to what was then the Gippsland Institute of Advanced Education, which is now Federation Uni. And then I went to what is Arcuna. It is now a wonderful facility, and then was a bunch of young artists setting up and working in a old butter factory, and it was a wonderful environment to work in, and I love the network of artists.
Yeah, Arc Yanar is pretty fabulous. There's such a beautiful area there. I was there on Sunday with Atworth and all those street machinists. The guys giving you a big shout out because fantastic work in helping boost economies. What was it like being involved with the Arc Yanar?
It was wonderful. I love working with other people and networking with other artists as well. And that is great. You're talking about mental health. It's great for your mental health.
Yeah.
Being around other artists, because being an artist, particularly visual artists, it can be a very solitary career. And that was just wonderful, setting up and working, because I wanted to be an artist as a business person from the very beginning. So I set up, my goal was to do screen printing to earn a living, which I did. And then a little bit further down the line, I met up with a group of Moe people, and we decided that we were going to set up another arts organisation focused on Moe and the surrounds, because Moe 3825, which is a postcode, covers a pretty broad area.
It does, it certainly does, yeah.
So it started out as a visual arts organisation.
Okay.
And I remember us coming up with the name MoArts, so Moe Arts, yeah. MoArts. And
except it's spelled with a Z.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was way back, you know. So we wanted to be a bit different.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. So it was great being involved with that group of artists.
So that was more visual arts, is that right?
Yeah, it started out visual arts, but very quickly a group of theatre people came in.
Some thespians, they took over?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily took over, but we, worked together.
Yep.
And it became a wonderful organisation, and we still network and work together. And
because that's been going 25 years now. Because you had a 25-year, I'm going to say festival, but
a celebration.
A celebration. Yeah.
Yes.
That was fabulous. You had all the pictures there. You had an artist there. You had people playing music, and then you had a wonderful theatre show. It was wonderful.
It was fabulous.
And then you had the I'm going to say slideshow, but it was on the screen.
Yes.
Where you had the history shown as well.
Yes. Yeah. And look, that's a great thing with people coming together and, giving their few stories. And it's just a great thing to do in that respect, because not everyone could come along to the evenings.
Yeah.
And showing the different things that they have contributed over the time.
So when we look at those things that they contributed, take us to some of your favourite stories. What are some things that stand out as you look at the history of Mo Arts and what it's contributed and things people have done? And if you feel like embarrassing some people, then that's fine too.
No, I won't do that at all. But look, I love the fact that I've made lots of great friends over that time that I probably would never have met if it hadn't been for Mo Arts. And that is a lot of theatre people.
So when you're talking about that mental health component and getting out, because it can be very lonesome, not just for artists, but people generally. And when you're with Mo Arts, it's not just, you don't have to be some guru actor or anything like that to be involved, do you?
No, you don't.
So what can people actually do to be involved with Mo Arts?
Well, you can come along, and if you want to be a part of the theatre, you can do backstage, you can take tickets.
So backstage, is that, what would people do in backstage?
Well, you might want to be a part of the props, you might want to just take tickets from people and put them in their seats when they come along. You can help
someone that's very good at giving directions, going, sit here.
Yeah, exactly.
You need those kind of people.
Yeah, if you want to paint sets.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to get up on stage. I have never wanted to get up on stage.
Yeah.
Other than when over the evening of the 25th, I got up on stage thinking I was going to present two of our wonderful people with their lifetime membership achievement.
Yeah.
And I was surprised by one of our fabulous theatre performers, Mike Puller.
Yeah. And
he gave me a lifetime membership. I was not expecting that. So that was just wonderful. Well, I was given that achievement award by Mike by him saying, and there's more. Sharon, you're going to get this award as well. So that was just a lovely thing. And so all these people I've met, it's just been a fabulous, fabulous thing.
Yeah. So if people wanted to get involved, how do they contact you? What's the best way to do that? If they're a bit worried about, because some people they feel that they want to reach out, but they're a little bit nervous about reaching out. What would be the best way to reach out?
You can get on our website, moarts.com, and there is a membership form on there. They can read about Mo Arts on the website. And the website's just been updated and it looks really terrific. Or they can come along to our Open Studios event, which is happening this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to lead into a great segue. Yeah. Thank you for that. Oh, you're a professional. You've done this before. Okay, Open Studios. Let's talk about that. Give us a summary of what that is.
Well, Open Studios La Trobe came about in 2015 when there were two or three of us who had been to the West Gippsland Open Studios and thought, oh, look, this would be a great opportunity for all of us visual artists who had been, feeling like we wanted to be involved in something.
Yeah.
So one or two of the artists at West Gippsland mentored us and gave us lots of information, and I thought, right, let's do this. So we actually applied for a grant through La Trobe City to help promote Open Studios, and that was just the best thing. So we produced flyers. One of our artists was a graphic designer, and the first Open Studios was absolutely the biggest exciting experience for everybody. People came out of the woodwork to come and see our studios. It hadn't happened like this before in La Trobe City.
So what kind of things can they see? Because Open Studios on this weekend, it's Saturday and Sunday, is that right?
Yes, yeah.
What can they see there? What will they expect? What should they expect?
Well, they can expect artists actually working in their studios, because most people will just work away either at home, quietly, privately, and not have their studios open to the public.
Yeah.
So this is a chance for some people to quickly tidy up their studios, which is what I've been doing this week. Have their work on display. I have a home studio, and there are a few other artists who have their home studios as well. It's a great opportunity for people to go to these studios, see the artists at work, because most of them will be demonstrating as well. If you're interested, you can purchase some of their work, because a lot of these artists will be exhibiting elsewhere or doing workshops or doing all different sorts of things. And a lot of the artists participating are very experienced and well-established artists. And some of them are out at ARC at Yanar, which is what we were just talking before. And that is a fabulous facility. It was renovated over COVID, which actually happened to work out quite well. There's ceramic studio, there's printmaking studio, there's 2 fantastic exhibitions on at the moment as well. So it's a really great place to go around and see all these studios from Maui, Tandil South, which is about 5 minutes out of Maui, Morwell, Traralgon, Yanar, and Ballara. You can't miss the ones out of Ballara.
Definitely not. Ballara is such a beautiful place.
It is.
And so the name Open Studios, it is exactly that. This is people opening up their studios saying, come and have a look at what we do, look at the art that we create, and to inspire people to want to see it, but also to that they could do some similar things as well. Is that right? For their mental health?
Exactly. Yes, and if people are artists, we have a lot of artists coming and visiting.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a part of Mo Arts, you can talk to either myself or Jenny Peterson or Liz Tyler. They are artists who are on the flyer, which you can pick up at any of the studios. Or, like I said, you can get onto the Mo Arts website.
So with that, because if I'm looking, and you've given me the brochure here, we've got 17 different artists on here. So
yes.
That's pretty impressive. You've got all their details. So on the brochure, it has their details, their address and where they are, and a little bit of a description. So, but there's 17, and there's even a little map, which is kind of handy.
Just it gives you a rough guide on where to go.
Yeah. So is there any particular themes that people follow, or is it with the art Open Studios, or is it just the eclectic, if I can say that word, mix of the talent that we have here?
It is. It's very eclectic, of course. Each artist has their own type of medium that they do and the type of work they do. So it really is a wonderful way of seeing all the different talent that we have throughout Latrobe Valley.
So there's things like, there's painting, there's sculptures, those kind of things. Is that what people can expect to see?
I don't think we've got sculpture this year, but we have painting, printmaking, airbrushing.
Okay.
We have a fabulous artist in Maui who does airbrushing on board, and I think he said he was going to have his son's car there. He does airbrushing on cars as well.
Wow.
So he is really worth a visit.
All you hot rodders out there, go and check that out.
We have 2 really interesting artists over in Traralgon who haven't participated before, so please go and visit them. Libby Witchell and Marie Radford. And Pollyanna in Morwell. She has a new studio. She's just moved into a new house.
Yeah.
A lot of people who would have been familiar with her from last year. She had a studio in Commercial Road in Morwell, but she's moved to a new place. We have, a few artists in Yanar. We've got the Matchbox Gallery. They have changing exhibitions in there.
That's beautiful.
It is a fabulous little place. And of course, I was telling you about ARC Yanar as well. And they have 4 artists there, as well as a really interesting exhibition in the large gallery and the Spark Gallery, which is called the Spark Gallery because it's special projects at ARC.
Okay, as long as there's not any open wires there that people can get caught on.
No.
And so this is on this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, the 26th and 27th, and it's open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So the people are opening their studios, some of them in their homes, to people to come and have a look and see how they work. Is that right?
That's right.
So I'm understanding. I can learn things. This is pretty cool. And what is it about from your perspective? Let's step back a bit for people as well that might be interested in getting into art. So you always liked art from when you were younger. Some people have that, they feel that they like it, but they haven't taken that step. And I know a few people have a corporate background, and a lot of people in that corporate space, it's kind of they did it because they should do it. It wasn't their love. I don't think anyone does accounting for love. But the people have this, they might have a desire to do that, but they're not sure how to step out. What advice would you give them to say, look, you can give this a go?
Well, ARC has many workshops over the year. They have ceramics workshops.
Mm-hmm.
Next year we'll be starting off a new program in painting, drawing, printmaking. I do cyanotypes, and I'll be doing demonstrations of cyanotypes, which is a really old form of photography.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
How exciting.
yes. So
so film still exists?
Well, you make your own photographic paper.
Oh.
And then place,
how do you make
bits and pieces. Well, you paint your solution onto it.
Wow.
And put bits and pieces on it. I usually use botanicals.
We're going to have to come and film that.
I think so. Yeah.
Definitely.
And then I place it out in the sun to expose.
Oh.
And then it develops in water. I mean, how great is that?
Yeah.
And I usually do that as a demonstration.
Yeah.
And sometimes I give out those little bits and pieces to the visitors.
Wow. I have to check. So, and people can see some of this at your studio?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got plenty of those.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
And I'll be doing drawings. I've got a drawing on the go that I'll be working on during the weekend as well.
And what about for people starting, the fear of failure? So a lot of people will think, art, if I do it, I might get it wrong. Can you get art wrong?
Not really. Yeah. And I suggest to people, just do it and keep doing it. You've got to practice. It's like being a sportsman.
A bit of resilience.
Doing sport. Commitment. You've got to keep practicing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't throw anything out. Because sometimes you need to look back and say, hey, that's how I've achieved something. I've gotten better since I did that particular drawing or piece of art. Look what I'm doing now.
I think of a very famous artist that never made any money during his career. And after he died, then all his art became really, really...
Are you talking about Van Gogh?
Yeah.
Now, that's a bit of a myth, actually.
Is it? Oh,
yes.
Cool.
He did actually sell works.
Yes.
He had a patron. His brother was a bit of a patron as well.
I did wonder about that, because how could he afford paints if he...
Yeah. He had difficulties with his mental health.
Yeah.
And he did sell little bits and pieces of work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the standard myth.
Now, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes. If he was alive now, he would be quite a well-off man.
Let's talk about that business component, because it's part of this show as well. You always loved art.
Yes.
But you mentioned very specifically that you wanted to make a business out of it as well. So you did screen printing.
Yes.
Tell us about that. What was that? Because I think there's a lot of people out there that do art, but they struggle to make some money out of it. They're the Van Goghs, I guess. And
yeah.
What was that process like for you? How did you actually make it so it was viable?
Well, I was very determined. Determined young woman at the time. And I worked out at ARC. So there was a very small rent for me because each of us artists out there paid a fee to ARC so that ARC could help cover costs. And I printed garments and posters and even banners at the time to help, run my business. And I also created my art, which was all part of it.
Is there a combination about that where you've got to have a bit of a commercial common sense? And I read about that with Clint Eastwood, different type of art, but with filmmaking. He had his love projects, which really didn't make a lot of money, but he also had these things like the spaghetti westerns and Dirty Harry, which appealed to a lot of the public, which, from what I understand, he enjoyed making as well. But he was able to do both because he was able to do some things that were highly commercial success. He could actually do the other things as well. Was that a balance that you had to?
Yes, definitely.
How do you do that?
Of course, my business had to evolve as well.
Yeah.
So at one point I was printing lots of posters, hand printing, screen printing. And then in the early 90s, along came a thing called computers, personal computers. Yes. So people immediately thought, and businesses immediately thought, oh, look, I can do this myself. I'm not going to pay anybody else to do it. So, but of course...
I'm laughing because I've seen people do that.
And they were really bad.
Yeah.
The posters were really bad. So that part of my business slowed down considerably.
Yeah.
And I was starting to do teach workshops as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that became a larger part of my business. And I really enjoy teaching workshops.
Yeah, there's something about being in front of people and then learning.
Yeah, it was a great part of it.
How did you cope with those times where things changed? And because we talk about in business where you're going along and everything's going nicely and then you hit what they call the wall and things are not so great. How did you cope with that? How did you go, okay, well, this is different. I've got to adjust to that. What got you through and kept you going? Because you say you're very determined, and I'm sure a lot of people are, but what keeps you going in those moments where it's like, it feels like it's pretty dark?
Yeah, look, sometimes it's really hard. I won't deny that.
Mm.
And I have a very a good relationship with my husband, and we work as sort of like a partnership.
Okay.
And if things aren't going so well with my business, things are going better with his business.
Yeah.
So,
is there any rivalry there?
No, not at all. He's a musician, so he has an art side to his business as well.
Yeah.
Not that he makes a lot of money out of his music.
Yeah.
But things were better in the 80s and 90s, music-wise around here. Not so much these days, sadly, but he still has his love of music. But, yeah, things got pretty tough in certain times.
Yeah.
But I had to think, outside the square in a lot of ways. I mean, I've done things like go to art fairs and gone interstate and try to sell my work in that way.
Okay.
And then, things change and then you don't sell as much at those sort of places. But I work with other people to do that.
Mm. How important was it to be around other people when you're having those? Because people go through, and we are going through some difficult times across Australia, not just here, but the cost of living is going up, all that kind of stuff. People are having different pressures. How important was it for you you said you had your husband and you had a good relationship there where you supported each other. How important is it to reach out and get that help when things are difficult?
It's essential, absolutely essential. So I had my MoArts people, I have my ARC friends. So I have a lot of art friends. So that network is so important. So I don't think I could have existed without lots of art people to talk things through and try and find solutions to certain problems.
What about as well, I've heard, and I've experienced it myself, where I've been in a pretty dark place and then you kind of can go withdrawn and you start, woe is me, and you start talking about me.
Mm.
When you talk about the arts community, because it sounds like you were actively involved, you were out there doing things, so essentially giving back. How much do you think that giving back helped in those dark times by shifting that focus?
Well, it helped a lot because you give and take.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've had to cry on people's shoulders and sometimes it works back the other way. So, I teach an art to business course where there are certain things that I've picked up over the years, like places to go for help, art, particularly art-focused advice and assistance that aren't necessarily, with certain business information, it's not necessarily art-focused.
So tell us a bit more about the Art to Business course. What is that course?
It's a short course that I get guest speakers. It's online.
Yeah.
So I get guest speakers who are artists who give advice on or tell their story on how they've travelled along their journey as an artist, what they've had to do. So really practical advice on what they've done over their time as an artist.
Mm.
And one particular artist who was in the Open Studios in West Gippsland, she's a graphic designer.
Yes.
And that's kind of like her bread and butter to keep the other part of her business going. And that also assists her art as well, being a graphic designer.
How much have you noticed with people talking about the problems and that they're having? I mean, one of my favourite scenes from movies, which I draw a lot from pop art for my advice, and it's from Crocodile Dundee. They're talking about a psychiatrist, and the lady says, you probably don't have a psychiatrist at Walkabout Creek to get your problems out. He says, no, we just have Wally. If we have a problem, we tell Wally. Wally tells everybody else, no more problem. And I just wonder, how much have you seen that impact of people actually just sharing their problem and then realizing that it's not just them. Everybody experiences pretty much the same thing. Is that something you've seen?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, for sure. We get together every so often, or we just have a chat over the phone and, have you had this problem? What have you done about this? And that really helps. And sometimes it's a really simple solution to something you've thought, oh, look, how am I ever going to get out of this? So it really does help. So talking with other people who are, in the arts field, for me, has been really essential.
So segueing back to Open Studios,
Yes.
because is that part of what Open Studios does as well? It allows people to get out and connect with, people that might be interested in art, might learn about art, but it's just a way of connecting. Is that part of what happens as well?
Yeah, yes, for sure. And even just the artists who are involved, even though each of us artists who are part of Open Studios, we can't go out to see each other's studios on that weekend.
Yeah.
But we get together with planning meetings and meet people who we've never met before. So that's been a really great thing.
So if people want to go there, and we've talked about Open Studios, it's on this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There's 17 artists. There's a flyer that we've got, and they're opening their studio, so you can go and have a look. You, the public, can go and have a look.
Oh, yes.
And so how do they find out more? You've got the brochure here, so we can pick up one of the brochures. Where do they find the brochure? And you mentioned it's also on the MoArts website, is that right?
It's on the MoArts website. We've got it on Open Studios La Trobe Facebook and Instagram.
So if you search Open Studios La Trobe, they should find it on Facebook.
Yep. Yes, and on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
We've had the flyers out all over the place. There should be some in at La Trobe Regional Gallery. A lot of the cafes. We've definitely got some at Arc at Yanar, so if anyone's been out there. And if you hop on the Facebook pages and so on, and you just want to drop into the artist studios, each of the artist studios will have some of these flyers as well, so you can grab one of those and start on your journey.
Fantastic.
So it's a self-guided tour.
It is. There's a map here on the studio, so people go to MoArts website or go to the Facebook page or grab hold of this very beautifully produced flyer. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. is Open Studios La Trobe. Check out some of the wonderful artists. There's 17 there for you to, so keep you busy this weekend.
It will. Not everyone will get through, and it'll only cost you $5 for the whole weekend.
Love it. That's awesome. Yeah. Great. That's less than a mocha frappuccino, which is my favourite drink.
Yes.
Sharon, thank you very much for taking time to be on the show today. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.